Oh no! I don't think he likes the light. It has been a very long time since I have made a video, and there are a number of reasons for this, one of which being life just got really busy. I have been working a lot. Work just got really busy from August into September, and the summer was a lot busier than usual. And one major reason for this is my husband and I adopted a new kitten. His name is Fritz. We named him after Fritz Leiber, one of my husband's favorite authors of all time. And he is just the sweetest little pea. He's just wandering around right now. I'm hoping he will make an appearance, but I will put some cute photos up just so you can see our addition. And don't worry about Hetty, she is absolutely thrilled. It took a little bit of adjusting at first, but it didn't take as long as we originally thought. She is such a good big sister. They play, they tussle, they cuddle, and she cleans him and is the absolute cutest thing, and we are just absolutely over the moon. But with a new kitten, life gets a little crazy. He is just a little bundle of energy, and he really keeps us on our toes, for sure. But Fritz, no! Now that life is just kind of back to normal and it is October, I thought I would share with you my spooky season TBR with a heavy focus on Victober, which is an awesome tradition online. I know it is run by two creators. I will put both of the usernames up here on the screen. I can't remember them right off the top of my head, but I am so excited to be attempting to participate in Victober with like a focus on some spookier books, some spookier like gothic Victorian novels. And after I get going, you will see I am focusing on some very distinct authors that I'm really excited about. So I thought I would just go through my TBR with you and just kind of tell you what I'm excited about reading. I'm hoping to do a reread of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I have reread this book many times. This is one of my all-time favorite classics. I have written papers on this in the past, at least 2 while I was in school. I have just read this for fun so many times, but it has been at least 3 or 4 years since I have read this just of my own volition. I am really excited to finally do a reread, and I've never listened to an audiobook version of Frankenstein, and I'm hoping to find a really fun audiobook, maybe a great narrator that does this story justice. So if you have any recommendations in that vein, I would be so grateful, and I would love to hear your thoughts, your recommendations if you have an audiobook version of this that you really love. Next up, we have The Castle of Otranto. I know this isn't Victorian. I think this was published in 1764. It is counted as the first supernatural English novel, and I think one of the first, if not the first, Gothic novel. My husband really enjoyed this book and recommended it to me. This is actually his copy, and I'm excited to read it and talk about it with him. It seems like it has just some classic Gothic themes, a castle riddled with secret passages, ghostly visitations, arcane revelations, and I am so excited. And the nice thing about this book, I think this is less than 100 pages. So this will be a nice, quick read, super fun, super fast, hopefully. So I'm excited about this one. And this has been on my TBR for a number of years now. Maxwell has talked to me about it so many times, and I'm hoping to finally read it this year. This is the last I don't think this technically counts as Victorian, but this is another fun Gothic novel. I am hoping to read Anne Radcliffe's The Mysteries of Udolpho. I actually, I've heard of this book before, but part of the reason why I am excited to read this now is earlier this year, I read Jane Austen's Bookshelf, which is a truly, truly wonderful book that covers all of Jane Austen's favorite, all of her favorite authors and the authors that really influenced her work. And Anne Radcliffe is one of those authors. And the author of Jane Austen's Bookshelf had nothing but fabulous things to say about the mysteries of Udolpho, so it really kicked it up to the top of my list, and I thrifted my own copy, and I am so excited. I have been saving it since the spring for this season, for October, and I am so excited. It is a bit chunky, but I'm hoping to find maybe a good audiobook to listen to as well. What I remember hearing about most with Anne Radcliffe in general were her descriptions of architecture and castles and just creating a really excellent gothic atmosphere, so I'm really excited about that. I mentioned in the beginning of this video that I kind of had a theme for my Victober TBR, my spooky season TBR, and it is a group of authors, none other than the Brontes. Yay! I am currently in the midst of rereading Jane Eyre, which I haven't read since college as well. It has been at least 6 or 7 years since I have read Jane Eyre, and I am long overdue for a reread. This is such a fun novel. I really, really love this book, and every time I read it, I get something new out of it, and I just admire Jane Eyre's integrity as a character, and I think Charlotte Bronte's writing in this is so gorgeous and so beautiful and always makes me weepy. So I am so excited to jump back into this. Again, this is very gothic. I'm really hitting the gothic hard, as you can see in this TBR. So I am rereading Jane Eyre. I am giving Wuthering Heights another try. I tried reading Wuthering Heights back in 2020, and I started it. I read the first half, and I kind of petered out. I put it aside after a while. I didn't like the characters all that much, so I think I ended up just kind of setting it aside and eventually DNFing it. However, I have been considering giving it another go ever since, every single year, and I think it is finally time to give Wuthering Heights another go, especially since The one thing I will say about my first reading experience with Wuthering Heights, I didn't love the characters very much. However, the writing was gorgeous, and this is one of the first books that actually scared me to the point of making me jump just by reading. I remember I was reading one of the first chapters, and if you're familiar with this book, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, where one of the characters who's kind of narrating the story, I think, is talking about shutting a window and something happens that it actually made me jump just by reading it. That has never happened before. It never happened before reading this. It hasn't happened since. It is a really powerful story. It's really wonderfully told, and I'm really hoping to actually finish it, so that I'm hoping that I'll be able to enjoy it a little bit more as well. I don't believe I will be able to read both of these books. However, I would like to choose one of them. We have Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte, and we have The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. And if I'm being honest, I'm kind of leaning towards The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I've heard such great things about both, but especially The Tenant I have heard so many good things about. Especially in this book, it seems like there is a really interesting depiction of alcoholism during the time, and it just seems like a really impactful story. Both of them do, and I'm really hoping to read this soon as well. This was a Christmas gift last year. I'm hoping to read it before Christmas again so that I can kind of comment on it. I think my mom got me this and I'd love to talk about it with her. But I'm also really excited about the tentative World Fell Haul. So hopefully at least one of these will be read this month. And of everything that I've learned about the Brontë sisters, I actually feel like I connect most with Anne. So I'm really hoping that after I read her books, I'll kind of still feel that way, or maybe I won't feel that way. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm really excited to read one of these. Finally, I am currently reading The Life of Charlotte Brontë. To kind of go alongside my reread of Jane Eyre, I thought that having a little bit of background on Charlotte Brontë would be a good way to go. I really enjoy having context about the author as I read the books. I did that earlier this year when I read, I actually read 2 biographies or biographical sketches about Jane Austen earlier this year. I read Jane Austen at Home by Lucy Worsley and Jane Austen's Bookshelf before reading Pride and Prejudice and after reading Northanger Abbey. And I really enjoyed that experience. It made it so much richer. It really made me appreciate the writing style a lot more. Even for me, I love Jane Austen. I love her so much. She's one of my favorite authors. But I do feel like having that context really helped me understand her and her writing even more than I have in the past. So I'm really hoping that this will help me kind of replicate that experience as I read Charlotte Brontë especially, but maybe just the Brontes in general. I'm also really excited to be reading this book because this is a book that I have had on my shelves for years and years and years. I think I bought this book when I was in middle or high school. I remember buying this from Barnes & Noble with my parents when I was a kid, and it has sat on my shelves ever since, waiting to be read, and it is finally time. And the funny thing is, too, this book is by Elizabeth Gaskell, who was a personal friend of Charlotte Brontë. That's what makes this book so special. She was making a biography about one of her own friends, and she is also a wonderful author who wrote one of my favorite books that I read this year, Cranford, which might be one of my favorite books of the year, if not the favorite book of the year. We'll see how I feel by the end of the year, but I love Elizabeth Gaskell's work. I have been very excited to read more of her books. I am thinking hopefully before the end of the year, or maybe in January, I will read North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. So I'm excited to read another book from her bibliography as well. Those are the Brontë books. I also wanted to shout out really quickly in talking about just kind of contextualizing the work with the authors and just trying to beef up my Brontë knowledge. I have been binging this one YouTube channel that I've been subscribed to for a while. I recently just started listening to her videos as if they were podcasts as I'm doing things around the house, watching them in my idle time. It is, the channel name is just The Brontë Sisters, and it is run by a really wonderful woman named Kate. She makes truly excellent videos, very well researched. I have watched so many at this point, just binging them, learning as much as I can about the Brontë sisters. And the great thing about her videos, she makes sort of documentary type videos as well, but she also has some really great vloggy style videos where she'll take you walking around Haworth Village where the sisters went, and taking you around the parsonage where they lived. I really highly recommend checking out that channel. It is truly excellent, and if you're a Brontë lover, if you love the books but don't know much about the sisters, and you haven't heard of this channel before, please go check it out. I think you would really, really enjoy it. And Kate, who makes the videos, is just so much fun. She's a fun person to listen to. She has a really great sense of humor, and just her little interjections too always just make me laugh. So I wanted to shout those out. and just talk about that really quickly. Those are my books that I want to read for Victober / spooky season this year. I am so excited to try to read all of these books. As you may or may not know, I love a good, probably unattainable TBR, but it's always fun to have something to shoot for. And I am hoping to film more vlogs this fall. I'm hoping maybe after I finish this video, I am going to start filming a weekend vlog, so stay tuned for that. But thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to some of the new people who joined and subscribed to my channel after watching my journal ecosystem video. I saw that a lot of people really enjoyed that, and I'm glad that they did. So hopefully in the future too, I'll be able to create more writing videos, more journaling videos. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, liking, commenting, all of those good things. If you would like to comment the books that you're excited about reading this fall, I would love to hear. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!